All credit for this build goes to Damak21 on Reddit, who posted his build guide for Battlestar Galactica here in No Man's Sky. Now, I followed his guide to the letter and built my own Battlestar Galactica, and it looks the bee's knees, I've got to say. I was impressed with the outcome, mostly. The problem is No Man's Sky's 100-piece build limit. Of course, Battlestar Galactica is no small ship, not at all. It's massive, and it requires a lot of pieces to get the general sort of shape of the Galactica, and to do it justice, of course. The problem I found when building the Galactica as per Damak's guide is the underside. It's great. It looks fantastic. If you look at it from above on certain angles, but anything else, you've got glaring holes, big gaping gaps, and it just doesn't look right. So as long as you sort of wear a blindfold when you're actually playing the game, then, you know, it's fine for taking pictures, and that's about it. Which is a massive shame, because he's done such a great guide, and it is a great looking build from a certain point of view. There's not really much you can do with the underside of the design, unfortunately, even after spending several hours finagling and fiddling with flat panels and servers and so on and so forth. It is a hugely time-consuming process trying to panel the entirety of the underside here. I have tried to make a few little changes to try and skimp on the 100 block limit. I've taken the cockpit off the front here, replaced it with a simple fairing, and placed the cockpit on the underside right at the rear of the ship. From first-person camera, that's going to look ridiculous, but in third person, it doesn't make too much of a difference. The underside of the ship is also barely visible when you're flying around as well, so the exposed everything on the underside here, well, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide whether you want to do something with it or not. I have tried to apply some level of sort of paneling. It's a bit wibbly wobbly, wibbly wibbly. That's about as far as I got before I got kind of fed up with the whole process, I'll be honest. It would seem that getting a Battlestar up and running, at least from all angles, is not so easy. Also, the view from third person is somewhat obscured. However, if your mission is to get some fairly decent photos of you and your Battlestar Galactica, then that is very possible from a certain angle. Just don't look underneath the hood. Otherwise, on the face of it, it's a pretty damn passable Battlestar Galactica. So, big shout out to Damak21 for posting the guide on how to build his version of the Battlestar Galactica here in No Man's Sky. However, I want to get a passable Battlestar Galactica in No Man's Sky that is actually usable as a Corvette, as an everyday Corvette. That is my challenge today. And that is what we're going to be building today. So stick around and let's see how we get on. Oh, and by the way, those of you wondering how I'm able to build so sort of freely and have all the pieces that I need, it's quite easy. Just hit escape, go to options, go to difficulty, scroll down about halfway, and under crafting and items, set crafting purchases to free. And there you go. You can build completely freely. And then once you finish building and having a bit of fun, you can set them back to standard or whatever difficulty setting you want. And there you go. You've basically got an on-the-demand creative mode built into No Man's Sky. So here we go. A passable Battlestar Galactica in under 100 building pieces. This is fine. This is absolutely fine. We have got our work cut out here, I tell you, because this is not a small boat. And we're going to have to make some sacrifices along the way in terms of getting the kind of shape right and getting the right shape and all that stuff. We're going to have to try and cut some corners. The scaling's going to be off. I'm going to make excuses now because I know the scale of the problem. So starting with the engines, I've just used 2 Titan boosters here. Titan heavy boosters. We're not going to get a perfect kind of replica of the engine layout of Battlestar Galactica, which is 4 massive engines. I mean, if we have 4 Thunderbird heavy boosters or whatever in a nice spread out pattern, we'd be there. It'd be great. So we're going to have it already. We're going to be cutting some corners here with this particular piece. I'm going to put a Super Cruise cowling up here. So next we want to use the Speedbird nacelle. Now we actually need to get it off over the top of the engine here, like that, but up one. So what we're going to need to do is use a temporary sort of something like reinforced hull linkage here. That'll do. And then we grab the Speedbird nacelle, turn it round like that, flip it onto the other side like that, and then we get the Speedbird fairing either side like that, and then back to the nacelle, the other side, flip it over like that. Okay, and then we've got a kind of nice little the sort of rear fairing with the I don't know how that ended up there with the Battlestar Galactica there. So that's the back, and as you can see, we are scaling this down quite a lot in order to get it within the 100 build piece limit. We need to build top and bottom halves to extend the length of this thing. Let's build out. Next big piece for me is the retractable landing pods either side of the ship. These are quite chunky and they've got quite a distinctive shape. So I'm going to use this little piece here. This is the longshore cowling. I'm going to spread it out as well, because we look at all the images of Battlestar Galactica, there is a significant gap between the arms that hold those pods in the side there. This gap in between gives us an opportunity to fill with things like generators and stuff as well. So that is all good. Okay, so we don't have a huge amount of space to deal with. We want to keep things as compact as possible. So we're going to slap a... Can we slap that under there, please? Are you going to let me? The game, always so kind, generous. We're going to have to go out and then up, I think. Yeah. You have to do this on quite a lot of these sorts of builds where you have to sort of build temporary things and then just delete them when you have the piece in place that you want. Now, I've got an idea here. Because these halves, I'm going to leave these halves here, right? They're going to be completely inaccessible to the rest of the ship. What I'm going to do is going to add in the Thunderbird landing bay piece here so that you can actually still get in them, because I think these would make really good cargo pods. Next, we want to actually shape these so that they look a bit like, you know, the landing pods that we're trying to build. And they have quite a cool little shape, an angular shape of them on the side. So we want something like, we've got the Argonaut aerofoil, which I think, or the Argonaut winglet, which might be quite good. So let's see if we go Argonaut cowling there and there, and then Argonaut winglet. That's huge, actually. We got something smaller. Aerofoil. Flip that. That's much better. There we go. We don't want a big sort of slope profile on this thing. We don't need that much. We don't need it to be that much. Now we just need a bit of a sort of triangular piece that can run down the radiator casing. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're making really good progress here. Radiator casing down the side there. And then we've got a long sweeping kind of bit on the end there, I suppose. So that would look nice. And then can we get a bit of cowling to go with it? Super Cruise, maybe? Oh yeah, Super Cruise looks good. Can we do something better though? Can we do maybe the one with the big freaking honking vent in it? There, the turbine cowling, right? I don't know. It's all down to personal opinion and taste at this point, isn't it? Which cowling is best? You tell me. Okay, so we're getting really far really quickly at the moment. I'm worried that we're making mistakes. Swept casing, I'm just going to chuck up there just as a little extra soncy. There we are. Lovely. These habs on the top here, I'm not sure they're going to be accessible because of that cowling there. If we add a walkway in front of that, then we can stairway up into it. Not sure it's going to be entirely necessary, to be honest. Right, this is where it gets difficult. The front, the tip, if you will, of the ship. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. All right, cool. So Vesper cowling is a good choice. Also, Super Cruise cowling is a good choice. You want a smooth descent into madness here. So how much space have we got? We're going to give ourselves a little bit more space than that, I think. So I'm going to duplicate one more hab, and then we're going to go down using the Super Cruise here, because underneath this is where our cockpit is going to be. So we'll get another hab underneath that, and then the Thunderbird cockpit there. And now we're going to start bringing out the shape. It's back with the Speedbird. 1, 2 on either side there. Look at that. We're starting to see the shape already. And that brings us underneath. We need something again, sort of triangular. That's not quite the right shape that I'm looking for. Maybe we're back with the radiator. Maybe the... I think this is going to be too much, to be honest. Let's try it. We'll try it and find out. Maybe we're okay. Maybe we're okay. I think... We look at the... Obviously, the front of the Galactica is quite like slab. It's like a slab nose thing, isn't it? It's not got a lot of personality on the front there. So let's try some different things here. I mean, that actually, you know what? I'm digging it. I am digging that as the front of the ship, I tell you. We got this big, heavy thing going on here. All right, so in that case then, instead of using habs, we could use habs, and we could put windows on them. Would that be too much? I think it would. I think it would be too much. I think we're drifting off course here, aren't we? With that one, we'll take that off because I think we need to start bending it back in a bit like Beckham. I don't know what I'm saying now. I've lost it, chat. I've lost it. It was a good start, but we're descending into madness now. Okay, hang on a second. Back to the Speedbird. We flipped it. It's too small. Hang on. Arcadia too big? Oh, hang on. Arcadia may have the solution we're looking for. Arcadia, you naughty little piece of... Anyway. So that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, that's the underside, at least anyway. Arcadia, thank you very much for that. We're going to need some Speedbird bearing up here and on the other side as well. And we have to then bring it back in towards the main hull to then combine it back into the main sort of the pods on the side, right? The arms. Here we go. Are we getting anywhere? Are we getting anywhere? Are we winning? Are we winning? Possible? Does it look even remotely Galactica-y? Not sure. Not sure it goes down enough. That's the problem. It is very flat top. And I'm wondering now, actually, if we should have started it back further. I've done too much. There's too much head, guys. There's like one half a thing too much head. Okay, this needs to go back one notch like that. Yeah, there we go. So we just need to budge everything along one mark like this. There we go. Like that. There we go. We'll take you out. We'll put a Titan class walkway, please. There we go. Like that. You in there. Like that. There we go. See? Just budge everything along just one notch. Okay. You know what? It's very forgiving, actually. If we think about it. It's a very forgiving system. I'm going to do something here that's actually quite a good idea. So we're going to take that hab out. And we're going to put in another Thunderbird class landing bay, just one notch there. Then the cockpit. Okay, and this is going to give us teleport down to the surface. Straight away, we're going to be able to teleport down to the surface. And that is going to be hugely helpful, massively helpful. All right. So we're also going to have some cowling on the underside here because, well, it's a tricky one. The underside of the Galactica is not well documented, but it does have kind of like almost like a trench run underneath the Galactica. So we're going to run this one along. Oh, behave, sunshine. Come on. Thank you. Run this one along up to around about there. Let's get a Titan class walkway right there. And can we get a window on there, please, boss? Yes, we can. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, underneath then. turbine aerofoil, flip it upside down. Can we slap it onto any of this? I don't think it's going to let us, look. So we're going to need some connectors to essentially push it along. So we do industrial joint there. Industrial joint there. Push it along with the turbine. Upside down, please. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right. Take those away. Then we are good to do something like this, you see. And that is the kind of the lip. I don't think that's too big. I think it needs to be half that. It needs to be like the swept casing or the radiator casing again. Like that. That's it. That's the one. So replicate that on there. Like that and that. There we go. The swept casing there. And we're not getting any warnings or yet about the amount of blocks we're using. So, you know, I think we're doing good. I think we're doing good. Had a little bit of shape variation in here as well. Use the seabird thing here and here. And let's see if we can sweep it back up. If we E this and then R it. E. Oh, there we go. That's what I wanted. Bingo. Okay. There we go. Okay. So the underside of the Galactica then looking good, looking good. Yeah. Okay, good. We actually have an underside. That's the important thing. That is crazy. That is amazing. Look at that. And we're still not getting any warnings about sizes. Now, we haven't put any generators on. We've only got 3 engines, I suppose, you could argue. It is limited. We do have a little bit of a wibbly-wobbly hab situation. This is going to be tricky to see. Right now, we've got a hab that goes up into the cockpit area, but it is not actually connected to anything outside of that. So we can go from there down, and then we've got this big gap here, and then we can go up again. So I want to keep the middle free so that I can put generators in here. Speaking of, let's go ahead and do that now. We'll put a Ceto class and an Azimuth class reactor in the middle of the ship. And we're gonna have to go stairway all the way along and then stairway up into the cockpit, which is not too bad really in the grand scheme of things. That's fine. High energy shields, 1, 2. All right, and then we've got decent amount of space in the side there. Looks like those pods will actually retract into that space. Using a little bit of an imagination there, they will retract going in there. No weapon systems detected. That's fine. We've got some space here. Let's see, what can we do with our phaser beam arrays? I think sticking them top, they look like a sore thumb up there. So we're going to stick them on the underside, right there like that. Let's see if we can style that out as well. Streamline trim. Yeah. There we go, and we're starting to get warnings now. 84 of 100. We've got most of what we need in now, and there's the drop thingy, so we're not going to be able to put one there. We've got most of what we need. Near complexity limit. We've got a damage potential of 117, which is garbage. Let's slap a torpedo launcher on it if we can. This one is going to be a tricky one. Yeah, on the boarding ramp. I mean, to be fair, we're probably not going to be using that boarding ramp. We'll just be using the teleporter down. So that would actually be a reasonably legit place to put it. But it's not a very good place to put it. And again, slapping on the roof sticks out like a sore thumb. So I'm going to move it back a block. We'll put it there. Now let's see if I can get the seamless windows in as well. There's a little bit of clipping going on there, but do you know what? It's okay. We'll manage it. We'll manage it. The whole point of this is to make a usable, working Battlestar that we can actually use in our normal game. A couple of deco blocks now. Look at this. We're so far under the limit right now that we can actually apply some bits and bobs to the ship's hull. Incredible. Now, I'll admit, I will concede, things like the front and the rear of the ship are a bit off. I do like the pods on the side. They look pretty spot on, apart from the weird things. You know, there's a bit of creative license going on. But we're at 90 of 100 pieces. We can still add some more things, such as cargo pods. We can add those in this space here quite nicely. And that will increase the cargo capacity of the ship. Can we add that in? Is the game gonna let us? We can put it there, look. $94 pieces now. There we go. Just a little venting, ducting on the inside there. And we're looking pretty tasty. We're looking pretty tasty now. I think that I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think there's much we can add to it that would contribute much difference. The only thing is obviously routing and pathing inside. We've got this hub here, which is connected via a walkway all the way down. So you can go from all the way in to the front here, where you're met with this torpedo launcher. We'll try not to think about it too much. But from there, let me just get back outside again. I'm stuck. Right, from there. We have access to the bridge hab, which does overlap, so we can put stairs up there and we can get into the bridge. We can get into the cockpit there, so we can fly it. And from that same thing, we can actually stairs up into the top ones as well. So we have more than enough access to things. We can actually add a couple of windows in here, which thankfully don't take build pieces anymore, which is lovely. And to be honest, we could probably get a few back simply by sort of taking that off and adding that in there and adding that in there. So we've actually got some nice windows. We'll break this up lovely with just some windows. We get the same shape, and the interior space is going to be really nice as a result. There we go. Battlestar Galactica in under 100 pieces. Yes, the shape is not quite as nice and refined as Damax over on Reddit, but this I feel like is going to be much more usable. Let's give it a paint, and I think that might make a big difference as well. So metallic finish, apply to the entire Corvette. Let's see, dark grey, white black, grey and blue. I mean, kind of a dark grey thing, wasn't it, really? There we go. I mean, it wasn't black, but it wasn't far off. We could probably refine that a little bit better with some lighter greys around the pods and stuff, just to break it up again. But there we go. Our Battlestar Galactica, 2 phase beams and 1 torpedo launcher, multiple accesses and stuff like that. Let's have a little look around, shall we? Apply edits. Here we go. Welcome aboard. Straight in, everything's Titan, so yeah, sorry if you don't like the Titan stuff. I guess that sucks. But we got some nice areas in the ship here with windows out. And this is where we'd add our stairwell, so let's go ahead and do that now. Yeah, this section here, please. There we go. And then we go straight into the cockpit, and if we go up again, we're up into the top floor. And there's a generator poking through on that one. Do you know what? I don't mind that. That actually makes it look like engineering, doesn't it? It's engineering! We have a spinny generator. Just pay no attention to it clipping through the floor. Okay. But yeah, I mean, great. 3 decks of access. There's our immediate access. We get out of the cockpit. We can teleport straight down to the planet using that button there. I think it would be better if it was turned around. But we can also just drop down and do stuff in here as well. So with the addition of all the usual stuff, refiners, cargo pods and stuff like that. Oh, speaking of cargo pods, actually. You know, but refiners, mission computers and all that stuff, furniture and yada yada yada. You've got a very usable Corvette here, and out here we can fill this hab up with actual cargo pods that we can jump in here and use when we need to, or with living gardens and stuff like that. There we go. Let's see how it flies, shall we? Okay. Visually, pretty much just as impaired as Damax, but actually, no, it doesn't look so bad. It's because it's smaller, thinner, narrower, you know? You can actually see a bit more flying around. And first person, well, first person is a little obscured just because of all the cowling around the sides and stuff like that, but obviously with the cockpit being at the front is a massive help. And it still looks good even with pictures and stuff like that. I've not quite got the front of the ship right there, have I? There's something a bit off with it. Not long enough? Doesn't slope long enough? I don't know. Everything else looks good. Just the tip. Not quite right. I'll figure it out. I'd love to know what you guys think. I really would. Who did it better? Damac? Or me? This would be a very usable miniature Battlestar Battlestar inspired Corvette. Damax is very much more true to the Battlestar shape and size, but it's not quite a usable Corvette. So I'd love to know what you guys think down there. Also, I'd love to know if you liked this guide and whether you'd like to build your own Battlestar Galactica. I'd love to hear from you either way. Feedback, criticisms, everything, all welcome. I'll see you guys down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.